Hello and welcome back. Today we're looking at Icon issue 2 from DC and Milestone. It's really just Milestone comics with DC imprint for sales purposes. We start out a little bit before where we left off. We see a guy going up the stairs. He's obviously known to security. His name's Kevin Franklin, and he's going up to see the mayor, but he's got a gun. And he calls himself Payback. He's talking to somebody on the radio. Well, then we cut to where we left off with the police officers surrounding Icon and Rocket, and apparently this is a special unit called SHRED, which stands for Special Heavy Equipment Rapid Emergency Deployment, and they're just called an elite police unit, but it's sort of like a SWAT unit. And of course, Rocket gets a little sassy with them, whereas Icon's complying with them, and Rocket refuses to. She says, "What are you gonna do, hit me?" And of course the police officer has a temper and tries to backhand her, and then she punches him out, which leads to a massive fight, and they beat the crap out of the cops pointlessly. Like, instead of just, they're both bulletproof effectively, so instead of just taking it or surrendering, they beat the crap out of the police officers while the mayor is being held hostage, and hostage taker even says he's gonna kill her. So they're out fooling around, beating up the police officers for no good reason. One guy takes a sniper shot at Rocket, and she throws the bullet back at him, apparently trying to kill the guy. So there's complete disrespect for law enforcement authorities, which goes against the Comics Code Authority, which is actually stamped on the cover. So this never should have been Comics Code approved. And it's a little disingenuous to be called a hero when you're out starting crap with the cops, but this was in the early 90s, and there was a lot of tension with the police in black communities, but this is just really anti-cop propaganda, effectively, which some people enjoy. But overall, the plotline itself is actually not bad. It's just, I think the whole scene with the cops was a little disingenuous and ham-fisted in there, but when Icon does surrender and he sends Rocket away, and the police assault the building, the cops get mowed down pretty quickly, and some of them are grappling their way up the side of the building, so they're in danger. Icon breaks free, and he catches one of the cops and has Rocket swoop back in to catch another one. And the officer apologizes, said, "I'm really sorry I hit you before," and she's like, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry I caught you." Wow, you're a hero. Good job. Way to rise above. So then they bust in to save the mayor, and they said, "You don't need that gun anymore." He's like, "You're right." And then he transforms into a giant lizard monster, which actually looks really cool. It's a big one-page spread. If there wasn't so much negative attitude toward the police, it would have been a good issue, but I think that really detracts. Some people really enjoy that sort of thing, but I think that sends the wrong message to young people that you should disrespect every authority figure if you can. I don't think that's the right thing to do. That is not a responsible use of their powers. I think that's quite the opposite of the Spider-Man philosophy of with great power comes great responsibility, because Icon wasn't, but Rocket was actively trying to hurt the officers, and that is not what a hero does. I'm starting to remember why I didn't read these books. Other than just being told that they really weren't for white people. It seems that there is just total disrespect for authority in a lot of the underlying themes here. So, which is really disappointing, because the heroes have a lot of potential, especially Icon, I think had a lot of potential as, somebody that's more than 150 years old. He was a slave, and he grew up he was an alien, but he went through the process of growing up as a slave in the South, and that could be way more interesting of a story for a hero especially, that sort of transformation. But instead it devolves into just petty political insertions that are just lazy and honestly unnecessary to the story. It would have been more interesting if they had been arrested and put in a paddy wagon, and then the cops had to come and ask them for help. That would have been more interesting. They could have done without the entire beating up the police department nonsense. That was just, they even threw in a Rodney King reference, which is incredibly dated now, but at the time was much more timely, and I think it really shows the mindset and anti-authority perspective of Dwayne McDuffie, the writer, which I'm really disappointed by. I expected better from him. Overall, it was a good issue. I just think that it was a little ham-fisted the way they insert politics in, and I have a feeling that's going to continue, but we'll find out in the next issue. I did like the art. The art's really well done. There's some really cool shots. The cover's really cool. I like that, even though I don't agree with the negativity toward the police unnecessarily. We haven't established anything about this squad really until later in the book. They reference that they killed some kids, but that's not proven or anything, and it's very vague and nebulous, and it's just an excuse to justify the assault that happened earlier. I think it was something somebody made them put in. But yeah, I'm gonna check out number 3 next week and see how it looks. But so far, they're starting to lose me. First issue was great. This one was I would have left the pointless adversarial nature with the police out. I think that's extremely useless. But that'll do it for this one. That's just my opinion. Take it for what you will. But thanks for listening, and we'll check out Icon 3 early next week.